Hey, hey everybody. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton, and we are back to continue the series on this book, How to Plan Your Greatness. You can get this on Amazon, and I will say this, as I've been saying this every time I'm on here, is that you can go ahead and order that book on Amazon. There's going to be some grammatical errors in there. That's okay. You'll still get the gist of the stories. Now, there's going to be an updated version of that book that's going to come out a little bit later on. That's going to have a few more, the stories are going to be somewhat enhanced on there. Listen, good stuff. So, yeah, if you want to get that from Amazon, go ahead and get it. If you want a signed copy of it, hit me in the comments. Let me know you'd like a signed copy. We'll figure out as far as getting payment and getting the book shipped out to you. My pleasure to do that. While you're there on Amazon, also take a look at this. This is Fair Exchange, Conversation with an Uber Driver. It is a nice, small, short read, but it's a very powerful book. I actually used to own a transportation company. And a part of my transportation, you know, in the city of Phoenix, the seasons ebbs and flows. The busy season for the transportation company is from September to May. After that, in the summertime, snowbirds are gone, clients are gone, you don't see them again until the fall, so it's slow. So what did I do? I took my vehicles and I put them on the Uber platform. So now I'm just getting a lot of random people, and I, just out of boredom, I started having these conversations with these customers. And then I noticed that they were saying certain things, and so I literally condensed my conversations down to an interview, down to 4 questions. I asked them, where were they from? What did they do for a living? Like their age. I knew their name, so I'd get their age. I'd find out where they were from, what was their occupation, if they were working or they were retired. And then I asked the question, if you could sum up your life in one word, what would be that word, and tell me why you chose that word? And I had a theory, and my theory was the people who use very positive words to describe their journey, their life reflected that. The people who use negative words to describe their journey, their life reflected that. That was just a basic theory. And I would say 98% of the time, the word they chose matched up with that. You know, there were some people that had good lives and they just said, ooh, my life was a roller coaster. But usually the person who said that word, their life was a roller coaster right now. And I didn't put that together until after I had done so many interviews. Now in the book, that book has probably almost 400 interviews. I would say I probably did somewhere in the range of 500 interviews, but I couldn't either remember them, I didn't write them down. So the book documents, I think, 373 or 300 and something. It's in the book. But again, we're not going to talk about that book for a while, because we're going to go through the 12 or 13 chapters that are in this book. And so once I get through with that, I'll get into the next. I'll get into that other book, and then we'll get into some other stuff. But again, we are now talking about this book. This one's chapter 2. I think I said chapter 1, but this is chapter 2, and this is called, the title of chapter 2 is called The Sweetest Sound. You know, I know when I did that, I was thinking of one of my favorite songs by Sade, which was called The Sweetest Taboo. But I said that was the sweetest sound. Now let's give you a sense of what this chapter is talking about. It is talking about the day I got released from prison. Now think about that. I had signed my paperwork to get out probably 30 days prior. And so you sign that paperwork, and I would almost bet you that they do that on purpose. They give you that paperwork 30 days prior because there's some legalities in that. But they know that there's a very good chance you're going to get like senioritis. You're going to get antsy because those last 30 days, and actually the date that I was supposed to be released, I think I got released maybe 10 days after that, because I got released on May 31st of 1999. You know, I think I was supposed to be released about 10 days prior to that. But either way, I'm out. I ain't gonna go back and ask them for, you know, I'm not gonna get a lawyer and try to, unlawful incarceration. Yeah, I'm out. You know, get me up out of there. So I'm walking you through the experience of what was going on in my mind that day. Because I remember approaching the gate and all I had was a box, a copy paper box. You know, if you've worked in an office and you're at the copy machine and it runs out of paper, and you're like, oh my God, where's the paper? Where's the paper? And it's probably closed or under a cabinet or something. And when you go to get the cabinet, you're looking, and I believe there's 10 reams of paper in there. Each one of those reams have 500 pieces of paper in it. So that box carries 5,000 sheets of paper. Well, what I had was one of those boxes that was empty. I had the top, and it was filled all the way to the top of everything that I had in prison. Now, I had a rule that I stuck to because I saw so many other inmates that when they went from one cell to the next, some of them had this full-on cart like they were shopping at Costco with all their stuff stacked on top of it, going from one cell to the next. I said, nope. I said, if they tell me, Mr. Hamilton, you need to pack your stuff up, I want to be able to just take one arm and really just kind of scoop everything into a box, because I knew when I left the prison system, I was not taking any shoes. I wasn't taking any extra pants, any shirts, anything. I was just going to take whatever they gave me, which they gave me like a little undershirt, like, you know, I have a shirt on underneath here. They gave you that undershirt. They gave you this long sleeve, what they call a cambray. They gave you a long sleeve button-up shirt. They gave you a pair of jeans, and they gave you some boots. And I remember shining them boots up because those were going to be my boots that when I got out, I wanted to look halfway decent. My pants, they were up under my mattress for probably 2 years. Imagine the crease in them pants after 2 years. I mean, that crease was cutting, you know, but that was it. But in the box, I had my journal. I kept a journal basically from about 30 days in to about 20 to 30 days out. After that, I stopped writing. Once I got within about 20 to 30 days of me getting out, I stopped writing. I really couldn't run through the thought process and sit down there and write. And the first 30 days that I was incarcerated, I didn't feel like talking to anybody. Probably the first 30, 45 days of me being incarcerated, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to write anything, but my ex suggested, hey, why don't you write in your journal? I think it would be good for you. So here I am. Let's get back to what's happening on the day that I'm getting out. I'm standing in front of the gate. And the reason why this chapter is called The Sweetest Sound is that I'm standing there. I could hear gunshots in the distance where the guards are shooting, taking their practice. Every day I think the guards are required to go to the range and take some practice shots. Isn't that crazy? I'm sitting there thinking, these fools are sitting over there taking practice shots, because the only time you as a guard would need to pull out that rifle is if an inmate is up on a fence, running off somewhere, and they give you the go-ahead to shoot that fool wherever he is. All right, so guards are out off in the distance shooting. So I hear that, and then all of a sudden it gets quiet. It gets real quiet. And then all of a sudden I hear this hum, like, because the gate is electric. And then all of a sudden the gate starts to open. And here comes the sweetest sound at that moment in my life that I ever heard. There is metal dragging across the asphalt. It is making this sound that I can hear it to this day. But all I know is when that gate is open all the way, I get to walk out of here. And it is just screeching across, I mean, worse than nails on a chalkboard. It is screeching across the ground. I mean, literally just screaming. And the gate opened, boom, it finally opened. And I'm standing there with my box. I take a few steps, I walk out, the gate starts to close immediately. I drop the box, I pirouette around, really military style, pirouette, and I'm looking at the facility off in the distance, because you got to go through this maze before you get up to the front of the gate. Not like the Shawshank Redemption where there's guards standing there and you walk out the gate, they're literally going, bye, man. No, I was there all by myself. All I could see was there was a tower right off in the distance watching me. And I'm thinking to myself, there's probably, some guy with a rifle, just, in case some shenanigan goes on. But I get out the gate, I pirouette, and then I look off into the yard, drop the box, and think of the 1968 Olympics. John Carlos and Tommy, I don't know, Frazier, whatever. The two guys that stood on the podium barefoot, put their head down, put their fist up. I bowed my head and I put my fist up and I said a prayer in my head. I said, may you guys be safe in there and may you guys make it out. May I see you on the other side. So then I put my fist down, picked up the box, and then I looked off into the distance and I saw my mom, my dad, and I saw somebody else. I didn't quite recognize him. I didn't recognize him at all. But then as I got closer to him, I could see the family resemblance, and then come to find out, this is my cousin who lives out here in Arizona. He came, he brought my parents out, picked me up, and it was surreal. And so now they're asking me questions. They're like, hey, how was it? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Do you want to get something to eat? And I say, take me to my storage. Now think about this. I just got out. I don't want anything to eat. I don't want to go see some strip club naked because my cousin made that suggestion. I was like, no, take me to my storage. Now, this is a powerful moment because I'm going back to that storage where I had asked my father. Now let's back up a little bit. My father asked me at this point while I was getting ready to go into prison, he said, well, what do you want? What do you want me to do? And my dad, I don't think, had ever asked me what did I want, what did I need. Usually he would go through my mom, but he asked me directly, son, what do you want? What do you need? And I said, this is what I need. I need $300. I need a TV, and I need you to pay that storage because that storage had all my memorabilia that I have to this day. And I wanted to keep that. So I said, pay the storage. And at that time, the storage was like 30-something bucks a month. I think the storage is ridiculously priced now. It's like paying rent, on an apartment, where you're storing your stuff. And he did that. He sent a check in every single month. He sent me $300 and he sent me a TV. Now think about this. I had kind of calculated this in my head. I said, I need a TV because I knew the conditions that you could have a TV in there. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with the TV, but what I ended up doing was I ended up taking college courses through correspondence, because I was in the middle of Arizona and they were connected to Central Arizona College. So I actually took classes and I didn't get an associate's, but I got what was called a certificate, which was approximately about 2/3 of an associate. The only thing that was missing was some of the core classes, English, the science, the math, and I got those once I got out. So that helped out a lot as far as I was able to transfer those courses, which is why I was able to get out and get my degree in 3 years, 4 years, like 3.5 years. I was able to cut a lot of it short. So I was able to take those classes through the TV. He paid my storage, and that $300 was the only money that my parents ever sent me while I was incarcerated. I said, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure out how to get a job and pay for everything, and I did that. I got a little job. I got a couple of jobs where it paid enough that I didn't have to ask them for anything. The only thing that my parents paid for was a phone call that I made once a week. I promised that I was not going to call more than once a week. I called whatever day it was. I would call on that day, Wednesday or Sunday, and I would talk for 10 minutes. That was it. And I know there were some weeks that maybe I didn't call, but for the most part, I called once a week. So my parents paid my storage, and they paid for that phone call once a week. That was it. I said, I'm not going to bug y'all anymore. I'm going to figure this out. So I get out, and now I'm trying to get myself acclimated, and now I'm living with my cousin. And here's another powerful moment that happened when I got out. I was living with my cousin, and one morning my cousin got his degree in accounting, and he was working for State Farm, and he was working the overnight shift. So he would be coming in the morning a lot of times that I was just getting up to go walk and just enjoy my freedom. And that particular morning, I was going over to the community college. He lived in Mesa, and he lived within walking distance of Mesa Community College. All right. So I'm getting up that morning. He's coming in. He said, "Hey, cuzzo, where you going?" I said, "Well, I'm going over to Mesa Community College." He said, "Oh, so are you going to try to get yourself back in school?" I said, No. I said, "I have already been accepted as a student. I just need to go take my classes." He said, "When did you do that?" I said, "I did that when I was in prison." And he looked at me, and I remember that look, and I know it's a cool look, because he was kind of like, "What?" But I know at the same time he was like, "My ninja, all right." So I go across the campus. Here's another powerful moment. I walk campus, and I had been a student there before, so I knew exactly where to go. But I took kind of a lap around the school to kind of refresh myself, kind of just soak in the fact that I had envisioned myself being on campus all the time that I was in prison. So I'm walking across campus and just kind of renewing, refreshing my mind. I go into the student services building, and I go over to there was a lady there. I could see her face. And I asked her, I said, "Ma'am, where can I get the information to get a degree in sociology or psychology, one of those?" And she said, "Right over there." So I go to this little kiosk that spins around, and I see it, pull it up, and it was kind of a lavender mauve color. And I walk over to her. Well, she told me, she said, go over there and grab it and bring it back. So then I get it and I come back. And she said, "All right, if you look closely at here, it's showing you all the courses that you need to take." She said, "All you have to do is take all these courses, pass them with a C or better grade. And she said, once you filled in all the boxes, you'll have a degree." And I looked at her and I was like, "That's it?" She said, "Yep, that's all you need to do." She said, "Good luck." And I said, "Thank you." Now think about that. Because that was so powerful at that moment, because I was super duper fragile. I have to take you back. I was a special ed student. I barely graduated high school with a 1.51 grade point average. I missed out on opportunities to go to Division I schools because I didn't have the grades, nor did I have the score on the ACT test. Now I'm not ashamed to admit it. I think I got an 11 on the ACT. The cutoff to where if you wanted to get into a university was like 19. Now between 11 and 19, that's Grand Canyon size difference. Okay, so I ended up going to a community college. So special ed, 1.5 grade point average, and then to confirm my lack of academic acumen, I get an 11 on the college entrance exam. I hadn't been reading, I hadn't been doing anything, but I had been reading a lot in prison, so I was preparing myself for this opportunity to go back to school. But again, I'm vulnerable. Everything could have come back to me and just said, I can't do this. But because this lady told me, she said, "You know what? All you need to do is take these classes and you'll have your degree." That meant a lot to me because I needed to hear that positivity. Even though she wasn't like presented like, "Man, you can do it." It wasn't a rah-rah speech, but it was just like, "Hey, look, just do this, follow these directions, take the classes, pass them, you got your degree." She made it sound so easy. And through the course of my bachelor's degree program, I believe that voice resonated in my head whenever I hit an obstacle. I said, you know what? It's not that difficult. Just study, pay attention, show up to class, turn in your work. If you need help, ask for help. And that's exactly what I did. And I got my degree. So it was so powerful. And there's a quote that I have in there. I want to read it to you. And the quote is, here it is, where it is. The quote, oops, I need to kind of keep my eyes. All right. The quote is, it's by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He says, if we treat an individual as he is, he will remain how he is. But if you treat him as if he were what he ought to be and what he could be, he will become what he ought to be and could be. Oh, I love that. And also, there's another quote that I have in there, and this is from T.E. Lawrence. He says, all men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake up in the day to find it was just vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dreams with eyes open to make it possible. I love those two quotes because that lady spoke to me as if it was just a foregone conclusion. Brother, you just take these classes, you got yourself a degree. And now T.E. Lawrence, that appealed to my sensibilities of, man, I'm not going to just have these dreams at night and then wake up and go, oh yeah, that was just a dream. No. He said the dangerous guys are the ones who are dreaming in the daytime. I may have ideas in my mind, but as far as me really bringing it to light and dreaming, I'm saying, no. I'm not just having these dreams at night. My dreams are going to be now in the daytime. I'm dreaming with my eyes open. And so I love that. And so my parents were at my graduation. And that was very powerful in a sense that I was able to tangibly show them that I had moved to the next phase. That I not only got out of prison, and think about in the span of time. How many of you can think about what you were doing 4 years ago? Now imagine this in the span of time as far as me getting out of prison, and then in the blink of an eye, 4 years later, my parents are getting an invitation for me. Their son, who was in prison 4 years ago, is now about to graduate from college. So I'm walking across the stage and I'm looking up at them and my mom is clapping and my dad just standing with his arms folded like ninja, about time, you know. But I'm graduating. I mean, that is so powerful. And I'll say in connection to that, what I did as far as getting through that and getting through and getting to the graduation part, I'm just saying, to me, that's unbelievable as I think about it. You know, some people, they find it hard to say things about themselves. And that's unbelievable. And I knew I could do it. That's why I did it. And so again, when I make the comparison of how I did that, I go back and I say, that journey from prison to that, I say I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, that part of having to go through prison. Why? Because I don't know how you're built. I'm a phenomenal dude. But again, as I talk to groups, I believe you're a phenomenal person as well. Because something that I know about you, that I found out about myself, is that there's more greatness within you that you can't even imagine. Because me going through that, I didn't know that was in me, but now I know it's there. So I literally tested on other things. I'm creating this content because I know this is going to take me someplace. I wrote the book because I know this book is going to take me someplace. These are just astronomical things as far as where I was and where I'm at right now. I know those things are going to lead me to something that's great. But again, I wouldn't wish that, thinking that you're going to come through that like I did. Oh, duh. I'd be fooling myself. But I know it's within you. That's the powerful thing. I know that's within you because I dug it out of myself. So again, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. That was the worst experience that I ever went through in my life. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I know that wherever you are, I don't want to make this sound like this is some rah-rah motivational speech, but wherever you are right now, I know you can be better than that. Because I walked out of prison with nothing. And here I am, multiple business owner, multiple author, college graduate, doing great things. You can do that too. So wherever you are, just believe that, I don't want to, that sounds kind of corny, but it can be done. You just got to dig it out of yourself. All right. Now, with all that said, I'm gonna leave it right here because there's a lot more things I can say, but I'm gonna cut this short right here, and I'm gonna leave it as I always do. That all those things that I did, they helped me get to the point right now where I actually, without hesitation, I know how to plan my greatness. All right? I'm gonna leave you with what I leave you with every day that I'm on here, and that is plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see you all next time.